Hey guys, can you see? Can you hear me? So I'm gonna put my glasses on here. What's up? I don't have any questions. You want to hold a gun, but they made you pin me up too. But am I eager to hear someone's stories? So listen, if you can all hear me and see me, uh, wave, shout out. Are we good? I'm thinking yes. Yes, yes, everything is good. You can hear me. Awesome. This is so cool, you guys. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Just simply because thank you. Thank you for your compliments. Thank you so much. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Everyone's waving. Work well. Shout out. Yes. Hold up a gun, but they made you. Hello, hello, hello. Hello there. Shout, everyone's shouting. Loud noises. We're good. Sam, can you hear me? Sam, it's Die Hardman. We're connected to the Chiral Network. Yes, we are. Keep on keeping on, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is so cool. I have never done this, so I'm flying by the seat of my damn pants doing it. First of all, just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined me today. Hopefully you will find out some interesting things, some not so interesting things. Obviously, I'm sure there are a lot of Death Stranding fans and stuff out there watching, so big up to you. Only just got here. Everyone, it's fine because I haven't really started anything yet. I'm just kind of getting the sort of initial greetings out of the way to everybody. So you haven't missed anything. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to get on and just have some time. So I'm looking at everyone in the live chat at the moment. It's a pleasure to meet you all. And thank you once again for joining me. Let's see what we've got there. Hello, Nicholas. Hello. Eyes up. You've sent in a question. Good. I think I may have that. I'm going to get to all that stuff a bit later. Good morning from Australia. Hey, what's happening down under? Wolverines, one, big love, big love. But they made you pin up, insert Brazilian flag here. Brazil, hello, Brazil. All the fans in Brazil, you guys have been absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. What is my favorite book? And hello from London, Kathy. Everyone's hyped. A favorite book at the moment that I have, and I have had for quite some time, is A New Earth, which is probably sitting back here on my shelf, by Eckhart Tolle. It is sort of like my Bible. If you ever get a chance to read that, I'm plugging Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, or one of his previous books, Power of Now. So something to take on board. It's all going so fast. I don't want to really miss everybody, but hopefully I can catch some of your messages. Love from Scotland. Hey, Scotland. Ciao from Italy, Brazil, UK, Australia. This is incredible, you guys. Absolutely brilliant. Just still looking at how did you become involved in Death Stranding? Okay, I'm gonna get to some of those questions regarding Death Stranding stuff as we move along. Chosen your next. I haven't. I have a poem coming up for Joy to the Word, Marco. So that'll be coming out on the weekend. Let's see. Hello from Richmond, Virginia, Ireland. Amazing. I'm from whatever you want, Tommy. No worries, man. Listen. So here's the situation. There is no format for me in terms of how I'm doing this today. I really just came about thinking that I needed to find a way to connect. Obviously, I started this YouTube channel. So forgive me if I'm ignoring your live chat at the moment. I'm just going to get this out. I started the whole YouTube channel and obviously starting the series that I came up with of Joy to the Word, where it's a chance for me to kind of read some poems and excerpts from some short stories and just other prose and things like that. And basically it came along during the time of obviously the crisis that we're all going through. Hello from El Salvador. Nice. Thanks for joining. We're all going through such a terrible terrible time at the moment in terms of COVID-19. It is something that I feel, uh, for one of a better phrase of putting it, is that something had to happen in our world. I just feel we become so uh, disconnected, so disjointed. It is one of those things that I feel that the universe has kind of uh, hit a pause button on it in a way that it's turned around and said there's too much happening, and for everyone to just stop, to listen, to breathe, take a moment, and really just try and reset. So I've kind of think that that is, I've never in my lifetime, nothing has ever happened like this to this magnitude where I have felt like there was so many people that it affected. This is it's a global pandemic. It is happening worldwide. And it is something that I think we need to pay attention to. And hopefully when this is all over, and it will be over, that we all take that moment and reflect back and think about, having to be isolated from our friends, from our family, and not being able to go out and enjoy what this beautiful world has to offer us. Um, Hopefully using this time to find things that we took for granted and maybe just look at that stuff again and just reconnect. So starting the Joy to the Word was one of the reasons why that happened. And although it's a small thing, it's a small project that I decided to do in terms of reaching people who I'm connected with, all the fans out there, and anybody who wanted to. It's if you wanted to click on and listen to it. Sometimes the poems are 3 minutes or a 2-minute poem, or the last one I did was a 14-minute short story. So it fluctuates. It's just something for to take your mind off, even if it's for those few minutes at a time. So that's the main reason Joy to the World came about, and I've been enjoying it. And I think we're up to episode 4 at the moment, so 5 will be coming up in this first little series that I've kind of put together. I think there's going to be about 10 episodes, so there's another 5 to come. So something to look forward to. Like I said, if it's just to take your mind off everything for 10 minutes. It doesn't, it's a chance for you to breathe and just forget about things for a while. There's so much with the press briefings every day dealing with COVID-19, and we're inundated with so much information, and yet at the same time, sometimes not getting anything new. So that's how it is. We just have to accept what is and move on from it. So I send so much love and gratitude out to everyone who has been affected by it. I know that my husband and I have many friends in our industry that are truly, truly affected by it. People on Broadway, their shows are closed. People in London and the West End, their shows are closed. And it's not just that, but it's everyone who has a job, or having to look after feeding their families and living paycheck to paycheck, and having to get through all of this at this moment in time. And there are things that people are trying to do to help in every little way possible. So if this is a small percentage of something that I can do to help someone have a bit of a brighter day, I'm all for that. I'm one for smiling and laughing and having the best joys in life that I possibly can. I have my down days just like everybody else. We go through our problems. We all have bills to pay. We have families to look after. It's hard. Life is challenging. It truly, truly is. But just know that there is an end in sight to everything. And when you hit down, the only way to go is up from there. So just keep that in mind, and everything happens for a reason. And we will get through this together. We can do it, So leading on to that, I'm going to give you a bonus poem today it's not from Joy to the Word, but I did come across it today, and it did make me kind of think about something. And it's a very poignant thing, I think. And it's a little poem, and I'm going to read it for you now. It's called Life is Now. And it's by a writer called Holly Ann Boucher, or Boucher. Time flies and memories fade. People change and new friendships are made. Only the true remain forever at our side. Eventually, the disappointment and pain will subside. It is all about the journey and what has yet to come. Life is what you make of it. You are what you've become. Life is too short to hold on to regrets. Forgiveness is key, even though you may never forget. Cherish the good and remove the bad. Some people don't realize till it's gone what they've had. Moving on is a way of life. There will always be obstacles, pain, and strife. You must believe that you are strong enough to fight. You have to believe in yourself to do what is right. Always do for you, no matter what you do. Because in the end, the only one who has your back is you. Never be afraid to take a stand and always be willing to lend a helping hand. A little bit goes a long way. And all it takes is a smile to brighten someone's day. Your chance to live is now. So what are you waiting for? The world is yours for the taking, and so much more. Endless possibilities are forever at your disposal. The chance to live another day is life's golden proposal. So never let anyone tear you down, and never let anyone steal your shine and make you frown. So, will you sit in the shadows and let darkness win again? Or will you rise up and make the light your friend? Here's your chance. So what will you do? You've got this, because I believe in you. How was that? Yes, I really liked that. I came across that today, and I thought that's very poignant. And it seemed to be the perfect segue into reading that to you after everything that I was discussing. So that wasn't planned, but hey, it was meant to be. So there you have it. How are we doing on this? That was lovely. You like that? Excellent. Everyone's clapping. Thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I thought it was really good. And I'm not familiar with that writer at all. I just happened to stumble across it today when I was, sort of taking notes about what I wanted to do and trying not to have too much of a format about today, because I want it to be very relaxed. And also it's just it may seem a little disjointed in some ways, but I do apologize for that. But that is just how it is. It's my new thing, so I'm putting it out there. It's the first time I've done this, so just bear with me. So having said that, have you noticed what I'm wearing today? Places, faces. From sapiens to ludens. Kojima, which is another segue, because if for those of you who are not Death Stranding fans or necessarily Kojima fans, just something interesting to know about that company that I just had the most amazing pleasure to work with, Hideo, which leads me to another short thing that I'm going to just pass on to you. And it's really their message from Kojima. So shout out to Hideo and his team and everybody at Kojima Productions. This is a message that you can find on their website, or chances are most of you may probably have already even heard it. But yeah, this was a gift from the man and the company. So I really, really love this. And I thought it was a cool thing to wear today. So this is from Kojima's Productions, From Sapiens to Ludens. It may sound familiar already. We are Homo ludens, those who play. From the moment we enter this world, we instinctively invent ways to have fun and share our inventions with those around us. We are not asked to do this, nor do we need reasons to create. It is simply who we are. We find one another and compete with one another. We laugh together and cry together, all while playing together. Our experiences bind us and liberate us to share our most valuable experiences. We create stories, invent tools, and evolve the art of play. Play has been our ally since the dawn of civilization. Playing is not simply a pastime. It is the primordial basis of imagination and creation. Truth be told, Homo ludens, those who play, are simultaneously Homo faber, those who create. Even if the earth were stripped of life and reduced to a barren wasteland, our imagination and desire to create would persevere beyond survival. It would provide hope that flowers may one day bloom again. Through the invention of play, our new evolution awaits. Kojima Productions. We are Homo Ludens. We are those who play. Hideo Kojima. There you have that. I thought that was also another good segue based on this cool hoodie that I'm wearing. So once again, thank you all for joining. If you've only just logged in, we're just kind of hanging out for an hour here or so and just basically doing our thing. No major things. No big surprises. Hopefully no disappointments either. So listen, so we totally agree on audiobook to you. Thank you. Egyptians developed complex geometry to play with the idea of afterlife by building the pyramids. There's some interesting comments that are being put up. So once in a while I get a chance to sort of scroll over and have a look. The question, have you beaten Death Stranding? I have not yet. But I'll get into that also a little bit later because I got loads of questions that have come in that I'm going to try and feed through. The next thing, and I think I touched on the idea of why I did the whole joy to the world thing earlier. So I don't really need to kind of go back into, but you kind of got the gist of basically about what's going on in the world and how I wanted to kind of do what I thought might be a little bit of, my contribution, if you can call it that. So listen, a little bit about me. I know that a lot of you, no one knew much about me before, certainly Death Stranding and some of the TV stuff that I have done before. I'm not, I'm not some A-list person. I'm a working actor, trying to get my gigs. So that's the normal side of me. Life is very simple. It's wonderful. For those of you who do not know, I do share it with my husband, who I love very much. And we are a great team. He's an incredible actor and artist himself. He was just in Wicked on Broadway for a year and a half. So some amazing stuff he's done. And you probably have seen some crazy IG stories from us and also some crazy pictures and stuff. We're always hanging. We're like best buds. So about me, I am probably the most easygoing person. I have gotten into doing a lot more social media interaction with a lot of you guys. I feel like I'm constantly reacting to you regularly, which is wonderful for me. I enjoy it. I enjoy connecting with you. I enjoy the whole aspect of it. And sometimes, it can get a little, I have to be very careful. And sometimes I need to be aware that maybe sometimes I'm on it a little bit too much. And I probably need to have a little bit of a break from it every now and again. So if you don't hear from me or see me on your timeline or anything like that, which in some cases you might be a little bit relieved, but just know that sometimes I think everyone has to take a break from things from a little bit. There's so much going on. But I do try to send out positive messages, and I try to be incredibly positive just in general. Once in a while, I'll have a bitch and a moan because I think that's human nature, but I don't also like to get into a squabble. I don't really, once in a while, I think I may have had, a confrontation uh, with one or two, but it never leads to anything um, crazy or anything like that. And usually I tend to just kind of shut stuff down. But, I'm pretty easily approachable. A lot of you have sent me messages, and I do try and respond if and when I can. And if I haven't, it's not for anything other than I just haven't had the time necessarily, or I've missed it. So, I'm pretty easygoing on Instagram as well as Twitter and Facebook and all those things. And I know that there's a lot of people who aren't, but those are their choices, and people are busy. I sometimes have a lot of time on my hands that I can do that sort of thing. But also, I also enjoy getting your feedback, knowing what you think, and also it's been incredible to meet so many people from around the world. That I was never able to have that access to, and Death Stranding has a lot. I have a lot to be grateful for with regards to that. A lot of you have come into my life based on the fact that this game and being followers of Kojima and looking forward to Death Stranding and all those things have come into my life from that angle, and I'm grateful for it. It's been wonderful to meet and also do so many interviews with a lot of people on their podcasts in the past, and that's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and also getting to know those people. So like I said, I'm pretty much I'm a normal guy. My career started in theater, from a very early age. First show I was 14 years old when I did my first musical, and has pretty much been bit by the bug ever since. And theater has always been my sort of what I'd call my bread and butter, basically. So I've carried on through that. And then a lot of you probably don't know that I have a dance background. I was in a couple of ballet companies growing up. I'm sure it's hard to believe that, especially when you kind of look at someone like Di Hartman. But interesting enough, Mads Mikkelsen also has had a dance background. So we had that in common as well. So that was very interesting. It is something that I still love and have a passion for, even though I don't do it. I can still go to the ballet or go to the theater and watch, people's incredible technique on stage and be absolutely in awe of that. So that was a huge part of my life, making the transition, moving to London to work in the theater there. My theater career was pretty solid in London, and I've enjoyed every aspect of that. I still have a love, and I still work back and forth in London and here in the States. So there is that side of it. Some of you may also know that I had a music career for a brief period in time, doing dance music when I was in Europe, and I had a couple of singles that went out through Polydor and BMG RCA when I was living and working in Germany. And funny enough, that came about whilst I was doing Cats the Musical in German in Hamburg, Germany, many years ago. And so that came about, and obviously one of the songs that became quite known was Let Me Be Your Love, which was a #1 hit in Spain for like 6 weeks and topped the charts in other parts of Europe. And that was kind of cool. But what people probably don't know is that it was #1 for 6 weeks in Spain. And the funny thing is that Michael Jackson was #2 with Earth Song in the dance charts at that time. So, it's something to actually have a song that was #1 over Michael Jackson and no one still knows who you are. That's pretty crazy. But it was interesting. It was fun. It was something that I'd like to do and continue to do. I don't know if I'll come down that road again. And I think someone sent me a question and asking about that, which I'll probably come to again when we get to some of those questions. But it was a wonderful time. And, singing is something that I still enjoy doing. I don't do it as much as I have in the past. Other things kind of come in and take over. I haven't been on stage now for quite a few years, probably about 5 years, I think, was the last time I was actually on stage doing Jersey Boys in Vegas, Las Vegas. I went there to do the show there for a bit, which was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. But I have a history with Jersey Boys. I was in the original company in London, along with my husband Jai, who played Joe Pesci and Frankie Valli. So that was a few years doing the original company of that. Then I went to Broadway to do it for a short stint and did it in Vegas. So I've had quite a run with that. So that's been good. My theater career has been good. Crossing over and doing film and voiceover and television sort of came in at the latter end. It has been, it's always a challenge working in this industry. Speaking now purely from the voiceover side of things, and doing voices in games. And I have done some other games, voicing, things like Guild Wars or Pillars of Fire, World of Warcraft, those things. Some games that have been around for quite a while, they've become quite legendary in some respects. And, it is just part of what we do, voicing animation. Go Jetters, which is a very fun and interesting children's television show that I voice in England, which is now worldwide. It is playing in the US on Universal Kids. And just so if you haven't, this is Ubercorn. He is a funky, disco-loving, funky fact-finding unicorn who basically is the mentor for four go-jetters: Zuli, Lars, Foz, and Zuli, Fars, Laz, and Kaya. Almost forgot there. And then, of course, his nemesis there is Grandmaster Glitch. But this is a really cute item that came. I just thought I'd pull it out and show it to you. He does...
Lars and Zuli, Kyan, and Foz.
Press his tummy.
Charged up and ready to go.
So there you go. That's basically what he's all about. A really fun plush toy that was made of Ubercorn. So if you have little ones who are preschool and love animation, get them hooked on Go Jetters. Not only that, but it is very educational. It is, we go to landmarks. We talk about various things that are happening with that particular landmark. You get 3 funky facts based on what that particular landmark is all about and things that you didn't even know. So I learned quite a lot when I was doing it. So that's another thing. So there are, that's kind of the gist of me and where my life is. And at the moment I'm, present day, stuck inside, isolating, trying to get through what we're all trying to get through. And then taking the time out today to spend some time with you and answer some of your questions. So that's kind of the history about me. There's a little more detail to it than that, but I don't want to make it all about me. Why would I do that? So you have that little bit of information about me. I'm just going to go back and have a look and see what's happening on. Do you still do ballet? I do not still do ballet, and not mainly because I haven't done it for so long, and my body would be like, "What the hell are you doing? Sit down." What else have we got? Yes, stay safe, everyone. Thank you to all who are still working. My dear friend Denny is obsessed with Death Stranding, and it's her birthday. Could you please say happy birthday to her? Happy birthday, Denny! Happy birthday, Denny. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Absolutely. And so, hello, Raguchi25, just tuning in. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So listen, we're about a half an hour, I think, in. I'm going to hit some of these questions that have been sent in, and hopefully we can get through those. And I have kind of seen some of them, and before I do that, let me just show you, because I showed you the Ubercorn. Some of you probably have seen some of this stuff already on social media. But just a couple of things. I don't know if you got a chance to see this bad boy. This was a gift from Rob Pauza and Fotis Mint, who I follow on Twitter and Instagram. But it was made, he does have a plinth that he sits on, but it is the coolest thing, and it is uncanny. I mean, look at that. Amazing. It's one of my favorites, and I will cherish that for years and years to come. There he is. Sam, it's Die Hardman. So that was a wonderful, wonderful gift to receive. And for those of you who are not familiar with Death Stranding, or may be familiar with Death Stranding, I received this as well. And it was a very welcome gift to get, which I think you will all recognize. This is from my cosplay props mask, who sent this to me, which is absolutely brilliant. I love it. It's an awesome. I think you may have seen some pictures of me and a couple of videos that I probably have done using this bad boy, but yeah. Nice. So thank you again to those guys for sending that. So yeah, let's why don't I hit into some of these questions that have come in. Is everyone still cool? Everyone can still hear and everything is so everyone's happy? We're all good? Okay, nice one. Cool. So here's some questions. Let's see. So this one is from Dominic Everman. He said, I was curious how you found out about Death Stranding and how it was working with the legend Kojima himself. And when are you going to release another album, which I've already touched on. So we've heard that. How I found out about Death Stranding. Well, basically my agent contacted me with an audition to do a self-tape for this project. At the time, it was very on the down low in terms of not much information was given about it. Long story short is I did a self-tape with a couple of scenes from it and sent it in, and I didn't hear anything for quite a while. And when I got the offer, I was like, whoa, well, this is cool. And I still at that stage did not realize who I was going to be working with or what indeed was going to really be asked of me. And let me make this very clear, because this is also something that was new to me. So I'm not a gamer. I work in video games, and I had probably one of the early PlayStations back in the day. But I'm not a gamer in terms like hardcore. I didn't even have the place to have a console, because it's my job, it's my work, but I do like them. I enjoy it, and I enjoy working on them. So it was one of those things that I'd heard of Metal Gear. I was not familiar with Kojima, believe that or not. So that was for me, in one respect, I think it was a good thing, because I had no expectation about what to expect when I was going to meet him. And it was amazing to later find out who he was. And yet by that point, I had already established my relationship, my working relationship with him. And I already had the respect for him for what he was doing anyway. But then to realize who he was and what he had done prior to that was, the added bonus of, wow, this is Kojima. This is King. So that's how I basically got started on Death Stranding. So that came basically from an audition, like most of my jobs. So I hope that answered your question, Dominic. This one is from David Mostalski. David, if you could be in any other video game, what would it be? I love your work, Die Hardman. Thanks, mate. If I could be in any other video game, what would it be? Honestly, I don't know, because there are a few. I don't have a definitive answer. But Naughty Dog does some great stuff, and there's a lot of people I'd like to work with. I'll just put that out there. There's tons of people I'd love to work with, and hopefully those things will happen. But there isn't a specific game that I would definitely want to be in. But depending on what came along, I'm pretty much up for anything, and I love a challenge. So I hope that answered your question. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a definitive answer on that. But I hope that works, David. Joanna Robinson, she says, I go by Jay. So, hey, Jay, have you ever done motion capture before Death Stranding? No. This was my first venture into motion capture. And it was an awesome experience. And not dissimilar, funny enough, to how I would work on set in terms of being on a set or working on stage in theater. It was very close to what I feel I do. The only difference was having to wear the outfit and the cameras. It was having to get used to that kind of work, because that was a little difficult and took a little getting used to. When you've got a helmet on and you've got a camera that comes around here and you have to be physical with someone, you just have to get used to not doing the human contact that you normally would without that, but just know that you're still able to do that, and that will get resolved in the final edits of the game and everything. Have you ever done? So we've just done that. She also has, did you get to have input on the characterization of Die Hardman? Or did you strictly have to follow through with the vision that Kojima had? The input in terms of characterization, I think what we were allowed to do, like any actors, is to bring yourself as much as you can to a role and interpret what is laid before you as a blueprint. And it's up to you to bring this character to life, to do, your interpretation. So the main part of that, I think, for us as actors was to make sure that we were delivering the vision that Kojima had for his story and for his characters. As long as you were in the lines of that, I feel that was most important, is to make sure that you're telling the story he wants to be told, and that his character is the character that he envisaged, but with your interpretation. So as long as things fit into that guideline, yeah, I think that's what we were able to do, and I think we did it successfully. The next person is from Lewis Gibbs. What was your reaction when you found out Hideo Kojima wanted to cast you as Die Hardman? I was ecstatic. And like I said, at the beginning, I wasn't 100% on who he was, even though the name had been mentioned. And I did look him up later to find out who he was. I think that my reaction would have been, had I known that before, I probably would have been a wreck, because I would have been absolutely blown away by the fact that this is who he is, what he's done, and I'm actually going to get to work with this amazing man. Needless to say, I still got to do that, and it was a fantastic experience. But my reaction to getting the job was I was over the moon, because I had never done motion capture, and the sort of arc of the story, basically, or who I was playing, even though it was still a little vague, I knew there was going to be some amazing stuff happening. So yeah, there you go. Hope that helped, Lewis. The next one is from Gianluca Vaca, 29 years old, from Italy. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Did you ever know all the story of Death Stranding from the beginning, or did you have the story little by little? So I did not know the full story of Death Stranding, even though I think we had the kind of blueprint. It was a very difficult story to follow, and even during the explanation, it was constantly trying to remember and to come to grips of how this story is being told and what exactly was happening. As you know, those of you who have played it and completed it, or are playing it, or have seen clips of it, get the sense that it is a very complex story. And not dissimilar to what's going on in our world today, funny enough. So I got the gist of the story and I got little bits. I got what I needed at the time of what I needed to do to work on it, if that makes sense. So scene by scene, I would know what I'm filming, what I'm working on, what's happening in that scene, what happened prior to it, what was going to happen after that. So therefore, you kind of know what's what your intention is within the course of that period of working with that. So I hope that helped, Gianluca. Let's see. This is from Tazan Raman or Tazan. What were your initial impressions when you read the script for Death Stranding? What type of man do you think Dark Hammond was when reading the script? My impression, like I said, I got script bit by bit, not necessarily the full story. Like I said, my impression of it was going to be, it was dark in a lot of places. There was a lot of stuff going on, but I knew it was going to be good. I knew that it was going to be good. And the type of man that I knew Die Hardman was that I knew that he was going to be a commander of some kind, that he had to be a leader. You know, he had to have some weight and gravitas about him. And I knew that he was going to be giving missions out. So that was the basis of it. And then therefore, everything just kind of came in bits and pieces. So it was great that I didn't know too much, because a lot of it let me act within the moment that I was given it, rather than having to think about too much of stuff in advance. So I enjoyed that process of working like that. So I'm going to move on. Jonathan Belcher sent in this one. How did you meet Kojima, and how was it working with him as a creative partner? Did he give you a lot of freedom to express yourself, or was your performance closer to the exact script? So not dissimilar to a previous question, but like I said, I obviously met Kojima when I got cast in the role, and I met with him on the day that we started working. And as a creative partner, I think he was very good at allowing, like I said earlier, allowing us to bring ourselves to it, but maintain the overall integrity of the characters that he had put down on paper. So there was freedom, but our job was to also stick to the script to a lot of ways. These are his words. He's written it, and he's written his story, so he knows what he wants and what he wants to be said. This one is from Marco _J1S. Hey, Marco. I think I sort of converse with Marco on Twitter as well. How do you find a voice for a character? And how do you come up with actions and their timing to portray a character and their emotions? I.e., all the detail that you put into Die Hardman breaking down on the floor and crying whilst recording for Death Stranding. What did you think about us, the player? So let me just address that first one, because I think the other one I'm going to answer later on. How do you find the voice for a character? For me personally, I think you just have to look at what is on the page, what information has been given to you in terms of, their background, what job they hold, where they come from, what type of person are they in terms of their personality. And usually that stuff you can kind of work out if you know someone's works in the armed forces, or works in a political side of things, or works in a hospital. If it's a doctor, the type of jargon that they would use when they're speaking. Or if the breakdown says that he is a commander, he has weight, he has gravitas, he takes no prisoners, and his voice is resonant, or it's deep, or it's commanding, or it's, when he's angry, he gets angry, but he doesn't blow a gasket. He sits on he just simmers. So that if he's angry, he can just sit here on this tone and people know exactly what he means, rather than just being too over the top. So there are different levels. So I think part of that is coming up with your choice, and seeing how it plays, and how it plays within the context of the scene and the actors you're working opposite, because you're a unit, you're working together. It's not just about you in the scene, it's everyone. It's a collective thing. So I hope that answered that. Okay, David Brown. What attracted your attention to being involved in Death Stranding, and had you ever done acting in video games before? This is DVD B21. What attracted my attention to it? Well, I didn't know anything about it until I got a breakdown through to do a self tape for it. So that was the attraction, and immediately seeing what the character was going to be, because that's kind of my niche. I tend to think that I tend to play characters like that. I play, professors, commanders, detectives, fathers. You have that you have that sort of brand that suits you. It suits your voice quality, or it suits you, your personality naturally. So those tend to be the things that I have played, teachers and things like that in the past. But yeah, so getting the casting is what attracted, and then realizing what it entailed. And yes, I had acted in video games before, voice wise, but never motion capture. So this was the first mocap. This next one is from Kathy Roberts. Kathy Roberts, who I know back in London, who was an avid Jersey Boys fan. I told you earlier that I'd done Jersey Boys. And she asked, so this is completely going off the Death Stranding for a second here. Was there a funny moment during rehearsals that you can recall? How about getting a few of the original guys together for a Q&A Jersey style on Facebook and having a bit of a sing-song? And what's the worst thing that happened or went wrong in front of a live audience? I'll just say that during Jersey Boys, it was the best of times. It's one of those shows, and the cast, I think there were like 15 people in the company, but we were like a family. Every production that I did had the same sort of feeling in it. We were like a family, and I had many funny moments during rehearsals and things like that. None that I can actually pinpoint, because all I ever remember was laughing through the course of the run of the show, and also through rehearsals, because everyone I worked with I loved greatly, and all we did was laugh, and it just filtered onto the stage, and we just had a blast. We had an absolute blast. One of the worst things, though, that ever happened or went wrong in front of a live audience, and if anyone from Jersey Boys from our company is watching this, don't know if you are or not, but I forgot words. I opened the show with a rendition of "Oh What a Night," which is done in French as a rap. And it's called "C'est Soirée La." "C'est Soirée La." And it's a rap that was done by an artist called Yannick, I believe, who's a French rapper. Anyway, it's the story is obviously the story of Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. But the show opens with this character singing this rap. And this particular night, I open the show and the music starts. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm supposed to come out and get the audience going and clapping. And I start with my first French line, "Que tu sais qui sont dans la vibe," is what the words were. I can say it now. I couldn't say it at the time, but I can say it now, that I came out and I got the audience going, and I literally, for love nor money, could remember the words to the opening of this. And it went on for a few bars of music, and I come down this spiral staircase. And it wasn't until after that I got the audience going, and I literally was like, and it was absolutely the scariest thing ever. Not only that, but I think my director was in, my music director was in, the Americans were in over from Broadway to watch the show. And not only did that screw me up, but I dropped the handheld microphone on stage once I got down and started doing all my hip hop dancing going on, and the mic fell down, and then I went to pick it up, and then I kicked the microphone across the stage. I had to run after it. It was a mess. I was a hot mess. So there you go. Hopefully anybody who ever saw that show has dismissed it and won't ever remember that performance, but it was probably one of the worst moments ever with that. So there you go, Kathy, sending you lots of love. The next one is for Sarah Thibaudin, Thibaudin. She says, what motivated you to accept the role? Was it difficult to play the role of a soldier? The motivation to accept the role was a wonderful job opportunity that came along. So that in itself was great. Was it difficult to play the role of a soldier? No, I think it was knowing the character. I think the difference for me was playing Die Hardman versus younger Die Hardman. And I probably should be very careful about what I say because I know a lot of people haven't played the game. If you're watching, so I'm trying not to spoil anything, but you have probably seen pictures at least anyway. But it wasn't difficult. No. Uh, Karen Hariharan, Hariharan. What was it like to work with Kojima? Awesome. How long have you worked on your voice? I have worked on my voice as long as I've been alive, only because it's the only voice I have. And so working on it is not been in a sense of working on it. It's just the voice that I've been given. So therefore, I just try and, it works for certain things. It doesn't work for everything. My voice is specific in a lot of ways when it comes to singing and acting and everything. It's very. I hear my voice sometimes and I go, oh, it's like when you record yourself on something and you hear yourself play back. I don't necessarily like it all the time. There are certain things that I kind of go, that's okay. Or, but everyone else will love it. So I thank you for loving it. And I've come to accept what it is. And, hopefully it just keeps me working. So that's the good thing about that. So I haven't really worked on it. It's just the voice that I've been given. What was it like to record that scene? I think that most people will know what that scene is in Death Stranding. And some of you may have seen or heard me in the previous interviews about it. That particular scene was a very difficult scene to do. I knew when I'd gotten the script what it entailed, where it was going to have to go. As the actor, I think I had to find a way to make that happen in the moment. I didn't know what was going to happen in that scene the way that it did. All I knew is what the dialogue was. The movement that came to me in it happened organically, and I just had to follow through. The only thing I did prior to that was I think we shot that scene after lunch one day, and I knew it was coming up with Norman. I took myself in a corner just to calm myself and think about what it was I had to say, what it was I had to deliver, what was the arc and the journey of this particular moment, and how it was going to make me feel. I knew that there were elements that emotionally things were to get to a certain height. I didn't necessarily know that it was going to go to that place so intensely. But that's what happened. We started, and thank God for Norman, because Norman was a pillar of strength for me during that. His eyes were glued. He was there 100%. He was present. And having to tell the story to him and relive something that had happened to me, you have to put yourself in it as if it is actually happening to you at that moment in time. And therefore, the emotions hopefully will rise up within you and deliver this message. So it was a difficult scene, and we did that in one take. And I think we did a second take for safety, but I was so happy to just do it and let it run, because it was very hard to think that I would be able to recapture what had just happened. So it was an emotional day and it was very draining, but we got through it. So there. DD Punk 18, who was your favorite character and why did you like them so much? I liked, I thought Cliff and Higgs were amazing, and it's a toss-up for me. I love Sam in it because of his journey, but we get what Sam's about. Higgs had to come from a place and just be this crazy, wild thing, but yet having to, this sense of there was a calmness about him that also made him very eerie and unlikable to some degree. But I thought, Troy was amazing as Higgs, and Cliff, his storyline just is a moving story to begin with. So I'm going to go with those two. Thank you. Gino Footer, how did working on Death Stranding alter your approach to acting? How did it alter my approach to acting? I tell you what it did. It was because of the motion capture situation, I hadn't done that before. I think as an actor, the acting side of things were still what they are. The process is still the same, but it was having to work against the obstacles of having uh, no full set around you. You have sort of set pieces or things that are meant to be a gun but not really a gun, or sitting on a bench that's not really a bench, or so all of those things were different, and having no visual stuff around you. But the challenge was is using your imagination to envisage the setting that you were in. So that was the challenge. Whereas, on set, you don't need to imagine those things. All that stuff is around you. You've got your sofa, you've got the house, the doorways, the sofas, the chairs, all those things, the props that you need are all there. Whereas in this particular setting, the challenge was having to imagine and put yourself in that environment in order to feel the way you should be feeling. If you're outside in the rain, or if you're walking through a storm blizzard, having to imagine you're in that storm blizzard versus being on a set where you're filming somewhere, in Alaska or the Alps or something like that, you have that. Whereas here you have to imagine it and try to bring those emotions into that scene when you don't have the necessary equipment that you would normally have. So that was a different approach. Moving on, I'm going to try and get through these quickly because I know that we are, I may run over this hour, but I'm going to try and zip through some of this. Let's see what we've got here. Matt J. Horn, at Matt J. Horn on Twitter. If Die Harmon went into Costco, what's the one product that he would stock up on in a pandemic? One product? Wow. I'm going to say he's probably going to stock up either on the toilet paper or the hand sanitizer. He seems like he's pretty much a on the level kind of guy, and thinks about the essential things. So I'm going to go. I know you asked for one, but I'm going to say I think he'd need the toilet paper and the hand sanitizer, and we'll work around everything else. Thanks, Matt. Davey Patricio, I'm going to shout you out a happy birthday if you are on here, because it is your birthday, I believe. How was it to work with Kojima? How was the process to understand what the game was about as someone who worked on it? I think I kind of answered those questions previously if you've already been on. So I won't go too much into detail about that, but it was great working with him. And the process to understanding the game, that just kind of came as we went. So happy birthday, mate. Did you catch me? What do you? Everton Stranding at EVYSSOUR on Twitter says, what do you do to have this golden voice, and if you expect it to have been so loved by the gamer community? Oh, thank you very much for thinking the voice is golden. I appreciate that. Thank you. And honestly, I am so overwhelmed and so happy that you guys have been able to accept me into the gaming community, even though I've been in it. But I think Death Stranding has obviously given me a little bit of a platform to get to know a lot more people and come in contact with a lot more people. So that's been amazing. And there's so many of you out there from around the world. That's what's incredible. It's not just one city or one state or one country. I've come in contact with globally with so many people. So that's been amazing. So thank you. Thank you very much. Let me see. What is your inspiration? What have been your favorite roles? I'm going to move on through some of these. So Laura Spencer at IDFYTI says, where do you think the end of Death Stranding leaves Die Hardman? What sort of president do you think he'll be? I think that the end leaves him, this is a little hard because I don't want to give too much away about what has happened. So I think he has done what he has done. He has come to terms. He's spoken with Sam without giving too much away. And I think he just has to accept what is, to, ask forgiveness, and to understand. And I think that he definitely he's a misunderstood character, in one respect. But I think he comes around in the end. People see him as one way throughout the game, but I think he does a complete 360 that people don't expect. And he is human. He is human. And I think he would be a great president. I think to know that now people see him as a man who has integrity, has heart, and only did what he did for the sake of his country, but trying to reestablish all the things that have gone wrong, and to find Sam as the person to send across on this mission to go west and help reunite and reconnect our world. I think he has nothing but good intentions. So I think those are all the things that would probably make him a great president. And I agree with you, Carl Calvetti. He did nothing wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. So let me see where we are. So we have actually just hit our hour mark. And I'm sorry if I didn't get to all of your questions, but I am going to try and answer some of them. Those of you sent an email or whatever, if I can, I will. It's a little crazy and stuff at the moment. I've got a few things that I have to kind of work on and do during this time, and it's great that I have the time to do it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did, and I hope you were able to find some interesting things out that you didn't know, that you found extremely helpful. I will do this again, and I will try and, I think in the future, I will probably try and get someone on with me just to have a chat with, so give you something a little bit more to think about. Like I said, this was my first step into this, and I think it was wonderful to do, and just to have this little moment to connect for anyone who hadn't had a chance to speak. And I thank you so much for all of your comments and everything. And part of the reason why I'm going finishing in the hours, because I know I've been on a 16-hour fast on this thing, that I don't eat after 8 p.m. and I can't have my first meal until 12. Well, at 12 I was on. So I'm actually going into my 17th hour, having not eaten since 8 p.m. last night. So I will finish, and I can't wait to go and have my brunch or breakfast, lunch, whatever it is at the moment. Mark, thank you so much. Please do another one. Love from London. Thank you so much for all your messages in the live chat. I'm sorry I couldn't react to everyone as it was going, but I just want to take a time right now before I do go to say how much I really appreciate your support, how much I've enjoyed interacting with you on social media, and for being so supportive in terms of my work, looking out for future things that are coming. And there will be some things coming. I, like a lot of people, lost work. I'd say lost it, and a lot of it's been postponed. I had some jobs that I was really looking forward to doing, that I'm sure you would have enjoyed seeing when they come out, that have been postponed. But hey, I'm not the only person in this situation. But I do want you to know that I appreciate you. I value your input. Please stay in touch with me. Send me messages, and I'm sending you lots of love and lots of hugs, and we'll get through this together. So stay strong. And like I say, at the end of Joy to the Word, stay strong and go get those blessings. All right. So I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to go and eat. So like I said, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for joining me. Stay strong. We're in it together, and I will see you again soon. All right. I'm out.